Alright guys, I just finished recording the Jaedong video, Tyrant in full form, and now we're switching over here to a TVT. We got Speed over in the top right, and we have TY over in the top left. This is a very interesting match, and we've got a couple of games here. So, this was actually played one day, I guess, after, no, 2 days after these guys were in the same group in ASL round of 24. I won't reveal anything about how that went down, but these two were in the same group, and this game is played, or these games are played, or were played after they met. So, without revealing anything, I'm very excited to see how this one's going to go, whether it's going to be a similar result, or if we're going to see something completely different. Speed over in the top right, TY going to be throwing down his racks here in the top left, and I think this is, yeah, Radeon. So close positions on Radeon. This could be a pretty epic game. There is potential for that, or we could see some really quick games. That's basically how things have gone recently in the past couple of seasons in the ASL. TVT has become such a high-octane, interesting matchup. I've really enjoyed it a lot more than I did, let's say, in the Kespa era or in the early seasons of ASL. It's become so much more fun to watch, and it kind of reminds me more of like ZVZ, where the opening builds matter so much, and things can spiral out of control insanely fast. Now, there is still the potential to go very, very late, and I think it does go into late game a lot more frequently than, say, that ZVZ, but it's just nice to see it developing and changing in a way that I think is more exciting and more fun to watch. So that's my thoughts on ZVZ and why I'm not really too concerned about, going ahead and casting some TVT. Mostly I don't cast mirror matchups, but I'm really enjoying this mirror matchup right now. I think it's a lot of fun, and so that's why we're checking out Speed versus TY. Floating over barracks is here. Only one Marine on either side. Both players get the scout off, and so they know they don't need to worry about anything like, BBS or something, some sort of crazy Marine pressure. They're just going to have one Marine to be able to push back the barracks, and both players are going to get their CC at roughly the same time. Speed just a tad bit quicker. TY is an insanely strong player. He has some excellent mechanics. He always seems to have more than the opponent, even at the highest level. But he sometimes struggles at dealing with curveballs. He's not as good at adapting to the play of his opponent. So in these early game situations, you can expect to see him kind of get a little bit of a lead, potentially, but that players like Speed can find ways to turn things around just by playing outside of the normal limits of the matchup, finding ways to punish TY in ways that he may not be expecting. Now, Command Center is a little bit faster here. Both players have 2 vaults. Looks like Speed might be looking to snipe that Marine. Just come in there and snipe that. If he does go for that, he could end up losing one of these vultures, even both of them, if the moving shot is good enough. So he's got to be very careful with that type of play. That's very risky. Extra factories being added on both sides. In fact, 3 factory here for TY, which means that Speed will also have to add a 3rd factory. Vulture War looks like what we're going to get here. There was a time period where Vulture War was just endless. Both players would almost always do a Vulture War, and it would go on for a crazy amount of time. Players would get up to, 5, 6 factories and just keep pumping vultures absolutely non-stop for fear of losing. If they decided to add on a machine shop, they would just have a 1 less vulture, 2 less vultures, and they would just lose the game. But that's not the case anymore. Players are much more comfortable going into tanks, and you can see a tank is already in production. We'll be seeing a tank here shortly for TY as well, but he opted to go for Speed first. In fact, it feels like Speed is doing a little bit better here. And it might be because the mineral patch is on the right-hand side in the main base. He's getting a little bit ahead because of that. But he's like one supply ahead, and he's got the tank out way faster. So there's going to be 2 tanks when TY only has 1. Which does make quite a bit of a difference, especially if there's an engagement. Having that second tank makes a world of difference here, guys. It really does. You can target down your opponent's tank immediately, and then those tanks take a lot of hits. A lot of hits to kill from the vultures. So they tank a huge amount of damage, really living up to their name. Vultures moving out here now. How many do we have? It is 9 vultures to Speed's 8 vultures. 9 vultures now and 2 tanks. So he's got a whole tank in advantage. That is crazy. Speed doing a great job here and actually fully keeping up in terms of his macro with TY. 4th factory starts and an academy on the side. Okay, both players going for an academy here. Definitely need to get that online because mines will be coming out here soon. I don't think that Speed quite realizes what an advantage he has because he would be liable to push that, I think, if he were aware. 11 vultures here. Looks like we got 13 vultures on the side of TY, but with the full tank in advantage still, this is a bit of a scary spot for TY. We're going to see Speed move to try and push this advantage. She's coming up here. Going to go ahead and get the first volley. Mines are going to be placed out in the front. They can't really push through these mines. Okay, he will just go for it. Pretty scary. If a mine connection lands on one of these tanks, you could very quickly see a swing for the player who gets the mine connections. Target fire onto one of these tanks. No, he's not targeting that yet with his own tank. Instead, just allowing... Okay, there we go. TY has made the first move to targeting a tank down. He gets a tank immediately, and look at how quickly the tanks start to fall here once he is targeting. Only 2 tanks remain here for TY, but this tank is on very high health for Speed. 1 tank there making quite a big difference. Oh, he just needs to get one more shot. He does get that last shot. Can he get the kill on this tank? With 4 SCVs repairing, it might not be possible here. Gonna back up. Siege mode activated. Can he get the shot here? Very big shot there, dealing a lot of damage to a lot of the SCVs around, and he gets the tank as well. That's a very big moment here, killing off the tank of Speed. Oh my goodness, so much action happening at the same time. I'm being pushed to my absolute limit when it comes to my lip APM here. I'm actually, I'm going to be able to contest our Artosis when it comes to lip APM. With this much practice. 4 and 5 factory are coming up now, but fourth factory has been down for a while for Speed. Surprised he hasn't been able to fully take advantage of that. Now going to be throwing down mines here, or shortly going to be throwing down mines in front of the natural of TY. So this is a dangerous spot once again for TY. He's done some fair trading, but look at the overall supply. He is falling further and further behind in that supply, and in fact even has a worker disadvantage. Some of those workers were killed during that last fight. Tank on the high ground will put an end to this push, I believe, but not before a few more SCVs get targeted down. And oh my gosh, Speed is just going to start to overwhelm here with that 4th factory coming online just so much faster than TY. He's managed to really start to snowball this and get now into the natural. Tank was unsieged there, brought to the ramp so that he can actually block this out. But now that mines are placed here, he can no longer stay on that ramp. 3 tanks are available here. Can he kill the mines before they connect? Great kill there. Targeting down those mines just in the nick of time. Has to make sure to clear this without losing anything, and it seems like he will, but 33 workers from that initial attack. I guess about 20 workers were killed. Oof. Oof, this might actually be over, guys. This might be the end here. Speed did a fantastic job of pushing the issue with that small advantage in terms of vultures, and that's what we were talking about earlier. Look at that. Okay, Wraith. That is the reason why things were a little bit slower here for TY. He did end up throwing down a starport, and the Wraith is just coming into play now. He's actually pushing back across the map for a little moment here. Does he have enough to push the issue? 3 tanks. I don't know what happened to Speed here. He's actually falling a little bit behind now in terms of the army supply and a tank siege up. He should be able to deny the CC that's building over on the right-hand side if he finds out about it. This is still playable for TY, actually. I didn't realize that there weren't going to be any tanks popping out for Speed after the fact. He was just still producing vultures, and not that many of them made it out in time. Drop coming in. Okay, he was also making a starport in the interim, and the drop is actually going to get a few more kills, dropping down to 30. Half the workers of Speed. I can't imagine TY winning this, even with the nice contain here at the front. That is just so much difference between the overall worker count. Can he actually kill these vultures before they lay mines? One mine does go off here. Can he actually target down that other mine? He does, and will be able to repair these tanks. He's shoving into the natural now. Oh my goodness, TY going for the SCV line, and he's got mines sitting here at the bottom of the ramp. A lot of SCVs are going to start to fall. Definitely should pull these SCVs into the main base. A little bit slow on that, so he loses a lot of SCVs. This is an intense game, guys. Wraith trying to hit. Wait, how did the Wraith take damage? I'm actually not clear on that. I didn't see anything. Oh, I guess there was a Wraith popped out from Speed. That's what must have happened. Speed must have made his own Wraith and tried to take the fight, but TY managed to win. And so TY now just out of range, I believe, of the high ground. Very close to the natural here. Kind of containment play out of him, holding back this tank attack. Now going to siege up. They get a couple of great volleys there. Ooh, ran in and dragged a mine. Oh, but the mine connection from TY is so good. Looks like TY will be able to continue to put the screw here, turn the screw on Speed. Another great mine. I don't even know how that connected there, but that was fantastic. A few more Wraiths have been made. Up to 3 Wraiths, though. You're going to stay behind in this Wraith count as Speed. There's really no way around it. Because TY had the early advantage, you kind of need to put down a second starport to turn that around, or get into, potentially, you could switch into Cloak. That's possible. Gonna come forward here, trying to push out. Speed is running out of options here. There's the Cloak upgrade. Okay, so he might be able to kill one of, yeah, kills one of the Wraiths, but now there's 3 versus 2, and now 2 versus 1, and so the air war has been won. Incredible. I can't believe TY won this. That is wild to me. That counterattack went so well for him. He actually turned this one around. Holy crap. I gotta go back and watch and see what exactly happened with Speed when he was pushing in. I guess he was microing a bit too hard and maybe missed a macro cycle or something. I'm not entirely sure. This was an incredible engagement. Back and forth, again and again. But eventually, Speed started to overwhelm with just pure vulture production. Right now, is he actually producing anything? Speed, he's making a starport, he's making an armory, and 3 vultures. Let's just see what he makes during this time, because he's got 4 factories to work with. One of these is not producing. He's actually messing this up a little bit. See, 3 vultures in production here, but nothing on this factory. So he was missing out on some production. And meanwhile, TY is only making tanks. The SCV kills are amazing, but they're not as effective as, say, drone kills in ZVZ. Just because he killed everything does not negate the position that TY gets after this engagement. You can see he missed an opportunity to keep making units here. 700 minerals in the bank. Speed was getting a huge amount of damage, but he was not following up with a strong play, getting a second machine shop, or, you know, just pumping pure tanks, getting ready for the counterattack. He's instead getting prepared to take a 3rd base behind this and kind of try to increase his advantage, try to get more ahead here. You can see he's microing a huge amount. He does go back for a macro round, but it seems like TY was just a little bit more solid during all of that fighting. He was hitting his build cycles and making sure that he was constantly producing. See, 2 factories still not producing here. Let's see when those actually start producing in a moment. See, 2 on either side here. Let's see. He's still not producing. Okay, he starts the tank just as I hit the pause button. Finally, will go back to producing a few more vultures, but you can just see TY spending all of his money where Speed is not. That's crazy. That is really crazy. I think when I think of Speed, I always think about his mechanics and how strong he is at hitting these production cycles during those crazy moments, but it seems like he just got a little bit carried away with the micro here and killing a lot of SCVs, dropping to half of his opponent's worker count. But the counterattack was very strong indeed. And Speed just did not have the units to actually deal with it. He adds on so many more factories because of that massive bank. He also gets that second machine shop, but he's just not quick enough. He's not quick enough. He's going to retreat to the high ground here and try to hold on. But we all know how this one ends. TY with the surprise comeback. So impressive by him, but we've got another game. Let's jump into game number 2. Okay, TY really surprising me there in that last game with his absolutely rock solid macro. Able to overcome an impressive worker lead from Speed. That is not how I was expecting that that game to finish off at all. That was really impressive. It just goes to show how powerful keeping up on that multitasking can be, even when you're losing, even when you're in a bad spot. As long as you're hitting the macro rounds, if your opponent slips up at all, gets a little too excited or a little too complacent, you can make a comeback. And that's what we saw there in that last game. TY, known for his incredible macro, his fundamentals absolutely on point, and also his drop play. We haven't seen the drop play here yet, but we might get to see it on full display now. He basically uses drops more aggressively than anybody else. He is so quick with his drop play, constantly reloading and sending in units again and again, just absolutely relentless with those drop mechanics. And so we may end up getting to see that drop style out of him this game. I can't remember what the name of this map is here. Knockout, that's the one. I believe it is Knockout. And so we've got the ditch here at the front. A little bit of low ground there in the middle. Not really as impactful for TVT, because you can just siege up tanks on the other side. Unless you're sieging right at the bottom, this chance is not going to happen. I guess if you're in a vulture war and you're able to put all your vultures up here, the opponent has to bring vultures forward to try to break this position. It's going to be a little bit hard, but we'll see. Gasless fast expand from Speed in this game number 2. He's going to take a little bit of a risk here, but again, a calculated risk with the fact that there is a low ground out in the front. It's going to be a little harder to break him. Again, not as impactful in TVT, but could play a role here. Both players, or excuse me, yeah, I guess both players just sticking on one Marine. It's kind of funny. Another player expecting any sort of crazy aggression here with the early Marine play. And so both going to get away with a very skimpy early defense. And that's especially good for Speed, because eventually he's going to make a bunker down here. But he's just getting everything online so quickly. He got the gas right away. You know, the CC, of course, comes down. Then he gets the gas. If you're making an extra Marine, that gas might be a little bit slower. But he's going to get this factory down. Will he go for double factory as a follow-up, or are we going to see a starport here? That can be a pretty good play against a lot of different range of busts that the opposing Terran player could try to do. Like if they're going to do some sort of tank attack or something like that, where they get a very early siege, just having a Wraith can completely shut that down, because you can't afford everything, right? You can't afford to make tanks, make siege, build all the units, and get across the map and do all that while making an eBay and turrets at the same time, or alternatively making an armory and Goliath. It's just not going to happen. So there is a possibility that we could see the starport, but that's not going to be the case. Second factory here for Speed, and a second factory coming up for TY as well, who's in a bit of a deficit, as you can see. However, he could possibly make that up just with his mechanics. I'm starting to believe in TY here after that first game. That was really impressive to me to see him bring that one back after so much economic damage. To still get the win there against a player the caliber, a TVT player the caliber of Speed. Speed's TVT is almost unmatched. He is so good. If there was only TVT in ASL, I think he might be a champion. That is a distinct possibility. But he is just incredibly good at this matchup, is what I mean to say. And was not expecting him to go down to TY in that first game. And now going to put quite a bit of damage onto this barracks with all 3 Marines. That leaves the bunker with only 1 Marine available. And he's floating out the barracks. So Speed being a bit risky here. If there was Speed finishing up on Vultures right away, and in fact, okay, that's actually on Speed's side. So Speed getting Vulture speed. ASAP. Oh, sends out a Marine. Goes ahead and clears a mine there. Ooh. A bit of that chase micro. Gonna lose 1 Vulture here. Speed in a little bit of trouble. Despite having that early advantage, TY is just hitting all the beats here. Can Speed get a kill back onto one of these Vultures? No, he can't. Not with 2 Goliaths there. The Goliaths are the great stopgap here that makes it impossible, really, to fight with these Vultures. It's just too much DPS. These Goliaths are amazing versus Vultures. They do normal damage on the ground, so even the small units are going to be eaten alive by them. Now with 4 Goliaths, this is interesting. Is he going to continue with this Goliath play? It doesn't look like it, but it would be kind of cute considering how the ASL group went. Hint, I'm not going to give anything away, but Goliaths did play a pretty big role. Goliath move out here. Just 4. Okay, just 4 Goliaths. That does give him an advantage when it comes to just Vulture on Vulture. We'll see, though, if he wants to push with that. I don't think he's really going to get too much value out of those Goliaths once Siege mode is done. It's going to be very hard for him to really do anything against Speed, excuse me, who has Siege mode nearly complete now. Natural is a bit wide open for the time being. Maybe Speed can slide in there, but it's a bit risky. Vultures are in high enough numbers where when the Vultures commit to killing SCVs, they're not going to be able to get out. They're just going to be stuck there. And so Speed not going to go for that play. He's instead going to roam the map looking for opportunities to throw down mines. He's taking his 3rd base on location with tanks on high ground. Knockout is an interesting map. If we can just zoom out here for a second. You've got the double bridges here. Then that ramp that goes, 2 big ramps that go up to the 3rd base. And then 1 large ramp on the top side that goes down into the 4th base. That's going to be a contention point, a point of contention. Oh, he actually dived in there. I will go ahead and picture that because I was looking at the map at kind of an inopportune time. Looks like he did decide to dive in with the Vultures. Got a few kills, maybe even 7-8 kills on those Vultures, which is pretty awesome. But again, it's not going to make a huge difference in TVT. He's still got on 2 bases a pretty solid economy, and he's going to be mining off of at least 1 per patch for the time being here. Actually not moving any SCVs over to that 3rd base. TY's mechanics maybe not showing off quite as well here in this game number 2. You can see Speed's already been mining this for a while. Getting some good use out of it, and even making his way in. Oh gosh, getting a bunch more kills here at the 3rd. Ooh, Speed is just so good, guys. Killing off so many workers. Knowing exactly when TY would want to transfer. And he's even killed enough workers to where he's not getting the full value out of that 3rd base. Dropping him down to 44. If this game goes long, Speed's going to be able to reap more benefits from those early kills. Moving forward now, TY has a good position in the middle of the map. So he doesn't have nearly as many tanks as Speed, who's just shoving forward in a strong manner here, pushing back TY for the time being. Doesn't have a lot of stuff along with this army. And you know what? These vultures could potentially run up and, you know, get some mines on top of the tanks. That's one thing that's a problem with sending out vultures like we saw Speed do, diving into the natural and diving into the 3rd. Now he doesn't have many vultures remaining to deal with the large vulture count of TY, so there might be a chance that TY can come forward and actually bust through the line of Speed with just an overwhelming vulture count. Both +1 upgrades are about to finish up here. We got a drop ship on the way for Speed, so Speed's still committing to drops, whereas TY not really willing to try that here. Just, oh no, there's a drop right there, excuse me. A drop moving around the top side. I hear a Wraith attacking something, but I'm not exactly sure where that is. Trying to look around for that, but I'm not really finding it. Drop into the main base. Speed gonna take some damage here for sure. That turret barely not finished in time. That's a bit frustrating for him for sure. Vulture here behind the mineral patch is not gonna get much damage done. This drop overall getting shut down pretty handily by TY. Speed's drop though maybe can get more damage. I don't see any turrets here. Vultures will be sent back to start to deal with this. At the same time, TY moving into position to potentially try to shut down this 4th base. His own 4th base is kind of lagging behind at the moment, so it's important for him to get in and at least harass this, get some SCV kills if he can. Meanwhile, TY going to move through the middle of the map, scanning and shoving forward. Oh, mine connection? Nope, no mine connection there. Lifting off the CC and floating back. Speed now behind in overall workers, but the position is looking a lot better as he moves towards this natural. He could end up sieging just on the other side of these bridges, which will make things very difficult for TY to break out. TY could also try to move into a good spot here in front of the natural, and we would end up with a very strange game with both players kind of containing each other's natural. Drop over here at the natural of TY is going to get quite a bit of damage. Looks like he's not targeting right now, but he's moving forward and trying to pick off some tanks. Barely out of range here. Well, it looks like he's just in range to kill that one tank. Can't quite see that, though. That is funny. Vultures make their way over to this 3rd base, killing off more SCVs. You can see the SCV count dropping now for Speed. But honestly, his position is pretty good. It's not bad. Just need to get a scan here, or at least move the dropship forward so you can see that. Let's end up winning that fight regardless. Tanks are very stacked up right now. Not a very good spread for Speed. He's going to rotate a little bit here. Can he get up onto the high ground? That would be a massive win for Speed as he pushes forward here. That may come to pass. Diving on top of this high ground now and getting tanks into position up there. Tanks of TY trying to defend right now, but the target fire is good and the mine laying is excellent here for Speed. Gonna get a mine connection there, no doubt. Okay, not quite able to get that mine connection. Still, this army of TY not really doing anything over on that side. He has yet to move those units, and he's not really containing anything. I guess he's only stopping Speed from getting another base, pulling all the SCVs to draw some attacks. Oh, he manages to keep that alive. That's crazy. But the Wraith comes forward, gets a double kill there, and kind of harms Speed's position. He's not really going to be able to hold that for much longer. One single Wraith, though. Against the 2. Speed gonna win that fight. Keep the rest of the tanks alive. Reinforcing this position. Finally moving some of these tanks around. TY's kind of forgotten about this force for such a long time. And he's allowed reinforcements to make their way over to this push for too long. Finally will contain Speed a little bit there on that side. But Speed is still putting on a lot of pressure here, killing a ton of SCVs. And the Wraiths are going to continue to be annoying, killing off tanks that are on low HP. And these Vultures, I don't think they're going to get the kill. Oh, the Speed Vultures running in here and saving the day, killing off those mines and actually keeping him alive for a little bit longer. Keeping this position on is so brutal. He's just not able to get this CC down, and he's been losing SCVs like crazy. Going ahead and getting his upgrade now for that Goliath range, but Speed is mining healthily on this mineral only, and TY's having a very hard time right now. He is really on the ropes. Looks like a few more units going to pop out here, and oh, Wraiths are starting to kill these tanks in the middle, and GG is called. TY just can't get it together here. The counterattack of Speed was too strong. Coming over here and stopping this CC was great, but TY really needed to rotate this group of units over into a position that could shut down or maybe even surround and kill off these tanks that were set up outside of his natural, especially when they made their move over towards this high ground. He needed those forces that were in the middle of the map to help out, but he wasn't able to bring them to bear. And look at this Speed just sticking around for a little bit longer. He's going to go ahead and kill off a few more units here before leaving the game. He's very happy with this result. At the end of the day, he managed to wipe out TY with that attack. And yeah, just a couple of moves that TY could have made. Really, just that move from there to there would have cut off a lot of circulation and a lot of reinforcements, allowed him to clean this tank force much easier, and even just unsieging that and bringing it back and trying to flank that army might have allowed him to keep this third base alive and keep this this game going a little bit longer. Guys, that's it for Speed versus TY. Hope you enjoyed this cast. Make sure to give it a like and subscribe. Lend me your strength, guys. Lend me your power. And leave a comment so that I can beat the YouTube algorithm. The YouTube algorithm's been brutal lately and really not giving me a lot of views here. And so I could really use your help. Thanks to all the supporters on Patreon as well. Big shout out to you guys. We're going to go ahead and jump into another cast because I'm getting a bunch of casts together here for my trip to Tokyo so that you guys have something to watch while I'm gone. And then I'll be back for KCM on Sunday, so it'll be a little bit delayed. Just want to mention that before I get a whole bunch of comments, people asking me what the heck is going on with KCM. It will be back on Sunday, and then we'll be right back into ASL again Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a crazy schedule, but I'm having a whole lot of fun, guys, and I hope you're enjoying it as well. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.